Shakespeare Project presents This Week in Shakespeare for the week ending Monday, June the 25th, 2018. Hola, Bartophiles. I'm Bill Walthall, and welcome to the 202nd episode of This Week in Shakespeare, a video release brought to you by the Bill Shakespeare Project. Now, this is our weekly opportunity to let you know about the latest and greatest in Willie Shakespeare headlines, coming at you every Tuesday, because, well, Tuesday is Newsday. The goal here is to hit you with a quick blast, no more than 10 minutes tops, of Bard-related news. Plus, we'll try to serve up some historical dates for what were the past 7 days of the year. So, this week's news stories included: The Stage ran a great piece titled Forget Marvel, I'm More Excited by the Shakespeare Crossover Universe, on the new hardcover release of the comic book Kill Shakespeare, the so-called Backstage edition, which is annotated. I love this comic series, and I just may need to shell out the $43 it costs. In the latest Lend Me Your Ears, the Shakespeare-centric podcast from the folks over at Slate, they discuss how that, due to an odd detail that came out during his trial, the short-lived, comically inept 1601 rebellion of Robert Devereux, the second Earl of Essex, looms large in the imagination of Shakespeare enthusiasts. Broadway World was one of many outlets that covered the cancellation by Utah Shakespeare Festival of their summer production of Pearls in the House. A musical about the life of legendary singer and civil rights trailblazer Pearl Bailey, the show was abruptly removed after festival officials discovered the offensive emails sent by playwright Art Mankey, supposedly over casting. Given the season's focus on diversity and inclusion, the emails must have been bad enough to cause the festival to pull the plug on the entire show. We have a number of reviews of this year's first production of Free Shakespeare in New York Central Park. The Daily Beast reviewed Othello, calling it brilliant with standout performances and thrilling direction. NJ.com also reviewed the production, which runs through June 24th, saying that it lacks complexity but comes alive with gripping performances. Newsday also reviewed it, calling it an exhilarating take on Shakespeare's tale of revenge. TheaterMania also reviewed, saying that the production thrillingly rejects facile, one-dimensional approaches, reaching for and grasping something meatier and a whole lot more challenging. The New York Times also reviewed it, though not quite so positively, saying that it is a picturesque, nicely paced show that engages without enthralling or unsettling. The Daily Camera reviewed Richard III by Colorado Shakespeare Festival, running in Boulder, Colorado through August 11th, saying that the play-within-a-play production makes stunning observations about the role of illusion in politics. The Philadelphia Inquirer reviewed Twelfth Night by Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, running in Central Valley, Pennsylvania through July 15th, saying that the production mixes riotous laughter with a sense of the tragic. And finally, the Toronto Star reviewed Coriolanus by Stratford Festival, running in Ontario, Canada through October 20th, giving it 3 of 4 stars and saying that the almost cinematic production has its action moving cleanly between locations, thanks to textural cuts and edits, and the world-class design and production team delivering effects that should be impossible in a stage context, which sounds very, very cool. Now let's take a look back on the last 7 days and how they relate to Shakespearean history, both his and the history in his plays. On June 19, 1566, James VI of Scotland was born. He would later become James I of England following the death of Elizabeth I. It would also be James who would become Shakespeare's patron and turn the Lord Chamberlain's men into the King's men. On June 20th, 1947, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was killed in Hollywood, California. A mobster and one of the founders of Murder Incorporated, he has absolutely no connection to Shakespeare, though in the movie of his life, his wife was played by Annette Bening, who played Queen Elizabeth in Ian McKellen's Richard III back in 1995. Regardless, consider the play that the Bard could have put together about good old Bugsy. On June 21st, 2013, Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing was released in North America. On the same day, this time in 1377, Edward III dies. Because his son, Edward, Black Prince of Wales, predeceased him by 7 months, King Edward left the throne to a 10-year-old Richard II, and we know how that turned out. On June 22nd, 1483, Edward IV's marriage to Elizabeth Woodville was declared invalid, thus making Edward's children bastards. This led to Richard, Duke of Gloucester, being offered the crown, which he accepted on June 26th, and he was crowned Richard III on July 6th in Westminster Abbey. All of this, of course, takes place in the play Richard III. On June 23rd, 47 BCE, Cleopatra gives birth to Ptolemy Caesar. She claims that Julius Caesar is the father, and while Caesar does call him Caesarion, or Little Caesar, pizza, he does not call him heir. On June 24th, 1509, Henry VIII was crowned King of England. June 24th is also known as St. John's Day, or Midsummer, in England. On June 25th, 1483, Anthony Woodville, 2nd Earl Rivers, was executed as part of Gloucester's endgame to become Richard III, which is depicted in the play of the same name. And that was your Week in Shakespeare, brought to you by the Bill Shakespeare Project. If you've enjoyed this news, history, and reviews overview, tell a friend, and hit the subscribe button to keep from missing these news, reviews, and history videos. For our daily blog and previous Twiz episodes, including links to the news stories we've covered, as well as the real Bill Shakespeare Project podcast, check us out at thebillshakespeareproject.com. And we'll catch you next week.